What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday to your Fire Fam. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, the safe space where we set oppression ablaze and we know and believe and are determined to make sure that something better will, can, and must arise from the ashes. And listen, part of the reason why we are walking here on Allah's green earth on this day of our Lord, November 30th, 2021, I'm sitting here mixing up all the religions. Listen, we're all here for a reason, okay? And I do believe that we are all here in order to fight this good fight, in order to advance the ball further down the field. But fuck that. I just don't want to advance the ball down the field. I want to get to the red zone. I'm trying to score some points. I want us to be victorious in all this, and of course, this is where we come to fellowship. This is where we come to break bread and share our similar thoughts. Like, I love preaching to the choir right here. I mean, if we get some new converts, cool. But if we don't, guess what? We got an excellent congregation right here. I am not mad at y'all. What's going on, Fire Fam? How's everybody doing out there today? Who we got in the building with us? Of course, I see my homies. I see Northern Witch. I see Courtney the SLP. What the Guan says. Toby Swoley is here. Chuck Diesel is here. Ed Gooding, see ya. New Rochelle, New York. What's going on, Ed? Thank you so much for checking in. Alicia's here. Afraid Not is here. I'm so happy to see everybody. Real quick, Big Teal, love you, baby. Real quick, couple of housekeeping things. So first of all, Thank you all so much for last Tuesday's show. We had a great time chatting it up with the Fire Fam. Our Fire Fam Friendsgiving show was a smashing success as far as I'm concerned. I got a chance to listen to some of y'all's melodic voices. What's up, Shirley? What's up, Alicia? What's up, John Coyster? What's up, Damian Smith? What's up, Luke Gang? What's up, Jonathan Guerrero? Yes, thank you all so much for calling in. And if you missed it, don't worry, we're going to do that again coming up in the very, very near future. So just stay tuned for that. I wanted to thank Black Magic. Thank you, Black Magic, for your Cash App donation to us today for Giving Tuesday. And that was very generous of you, sis, because, I mean, we appreciate it. There's a lot of very worthy organizations out there accepting material help today. And I was very humbled, Black Magic, that you included us in your Giving Tuesday. So thank you for that. Brendan also broke us off with a few bucks on Venmo. Brendan, happy belated birthday. Thank you so much for thinking about Burn It Down with Kim Brown while you were doing your giving. And listen, I'm not trying to put the press on y'all. Don't look at that as peer pressure. I just want to definitely acknowledge the people that take the time out to support us, our patrons, people like Courtney, people like Tasia, people like Black Magic, people like Jonathan S, who drops us on Patrick S. My bad, Patrick. He drops us some cash apps from time to time. Thank you all so much for your support. And listen, you just being here, you just taking your time out of your day to fellowship with the Fire Fam, that is beautiful. That is enough support for me. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your subscription. And just thank you. So hey, now who up in here showing off? Who came in here to show off early on? AR Walker, thank you so much, honey. Happy Giving Tuesday. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, AR, for that. I do appreciate that so much. Guys, we have a good show coming up for you today. So the title of the show, what's the show called? Shoplifters do not equal crime wave that the mainstream media presents, but corporations steal billions from workers. I came across a really interesting piece on today. I think the website is popular.info. And they did a very good examination about a story that came out of the Bay Area earlier this year, where a man was filmed stealing hundreds of dollars of merchandise from Walgreens, right? And I believe the author of this piece is Judd Legume. I don't know how you say Judd's last name. We're going to call that Bama Legume, as in a cashew. That nigga is a legume. Judd Legume wrote this piece, and he did a masterful job of outlining how mainstream media will cover, as I'm sure you all have seen during this holiday shopping season, they'll cover all these smash and grab, shoplifting, these organized crime rings coming to steal merchandise from retailers, and it's just making it hard for the retail. Meanwhile, these exact same retailers, specifically, we're going to throw Walmart under the bus specifically for this. These same retailers have been screwing their workers over for decades. They have been literally stealing from their workers, stealing wages from them, depriving them of a sustainable living wage, of a sustainable living, not to mention not including health benefits for most part-time employees. All the while, during this pandemic, these corporations have been making record profits. And these CEOs and the board of executives, whatever the fuck them niggas is called, making shit ton of money to shareholders off dividends, off profits, okay? And the mainstream media, and we're really gonna pick on NBC News when we get to this story, loves to amplify these false narratives about how much shoplifting crime is diminishing corporations and their businesses. But never once do they shine the spotlight back on the corporations to reveal the amount of wages that they have stolen. And even when those stories are actual stories, these same media outlets give shockingly very little attention to that. So we're going to talk about that coming up in the show. And by the way, how a lot of these shoplifting crime wave stories help to drive the narrative that we need more police. I hate it here. Also coming up in the show, we're going to be discussing the resurgence, let's call it that, of the Amazon workers in Bessemer, Alabama. You know that they tried to unionize earlier this year and the vote failed. Well, the vote failed because it had some help. Amazon helped it fail. Shocker, shocker, shocker. I know y'all are just appalled. Y'all just clutching y'all pearls right now in disbelief. I get it. Amazon, according to the National Labor Relations Board, where these votes go through, the government agency in which workers are able to certify their unions, the National Labor Relations Board wrote a scathing condemnation of the way that Amazon engaged in really just atrocious union busting efforts in order to disincentivize workers in Bessemer, Alabama from unionizing. And the company continues to exact very similar behaviors against their workers really across the country, but specifically in Staten Island, New York, where an Amazon worker who was working for Amazon whilst homeless, by the way, that sounds like wage theft like shit. Like, this man is working, this person is working, can't even afford to put a roof over their heads. Fuck is they working for? This person was attempting to organize their co-workers in the Staten Island Amazon facility, and Amazon found out and fired them. Okay. And the Amazon arm of the workers there in Staten Island is also filed something with the National Labor Relations Board to hopefully punish this company for these types of indefensible tactics in order to advance Amazon having incredible profits throughout the duration of the pandemic. They are determined to make sure that their workers do not unionize, despite the fact that Jeff Bezos is the most wealthiest man on the planet. So that's coming up in the program. Y'all stay tuned for that. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We are only like 30 subscribers short to getting to 2,300 subscribers. So if we could get to my goal in my brain that I told nobody when we launched this Burn It Down with Kim Brown endeavor, after we separated from the news organization that which we were initially affiliated with, in my brain, I said, yo, if we get, I'm sorry, Auntie knows is running. And I'm not doing nothing crazy. So they'll be like, Auntie, what you been in the bathroom doing? No, it's not like that. If we make it to 2,500 subscribers, that was the internal goal I had in my head for year one, right? So if we can get closer to 2,300 and anything over that, to me would be bonus. So direct people to kindly subscribe to my shit. I would certainly appreciate that. But I wanted us to lead off the program. With good news, okay? I think I'm gonna try to do this actually. I'm gonna try to find something good to report upon before we get into the bullshit. Before we get knee deep in the bullshit, let's talk about something good. Now, many of you probably heard today that the Caribbean island nation of Barbados, today was their last day under the rule of the Queen of England. Barbados has been a colony of England for, 400 years? I mean, that's not even hyperbole. Actually, I'm on barbados.org right now. Let me see if I can get that exact date. But before I come to the date, Barbados has been an English colony for literally hundreds of years. A majority black island in which the British Empire imported 400,000 enslaved Africans in order to work the plantations there, to work the molasses, to work that sugar cane, to get them rum distilleries running. And without a doubt, the British government acted like an imperialist, right? Like a true colonist. Had slaves. There was indigenous people there in Barbados, got rid of them. So England has been terrible in the Caribbean. We've known this. But Barbados specifically got their, I wouldn't say, I'm not even sure to call it emancipation, because I'm very glad that they are, they took the shackles off their feet so they could dance. Hey, but I don't know that England is not going to still play a major role in the politics and economy of Barbados. But all that notwithstanding, let's take a look. This is the clip actually that we're about to see. If I got this right, this came from the royal family Twitter. The royal family. Because Queen Elizabeth, she about 4,000 years old. She couldn't make it to Barbados. So Prince Charles, who's only 3,500 years old, they sent Prince Charles down there to oversee, I suppose, the transfer of power. So this is a clip that was on the British royal family's Twitter page, and it's going to be, it almost reminds me of like one of our clips. Actually, Tunde, you edit way better than whoever's running the social media channel for the British royal family. But what you're going to hear and see are the events of last night. Prince Charles was there. The new president of Barbados was there. Sandra Mason, formerly Dame Sandra Mason. Now she President Sandra Mason. Put some respect on Sandra's name. But let's just take a look at the pomp and circumstance that was the Barbados people ridding themselves of the British crown last night.
Please stand. Once the colors are in their rightful place on the parade, the President of Barbados, Her Excellency, the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Mason, will be accorded her very first presidential salute.
Madam President, Prime Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on a continuum, a milestone on the long road you have not only travelled, but which you have built. From the darkest days of our past and the appalling atrocity of slavery, which forever stains our history, the people of this island forged their path with extraordinary fortitude. For my part, this is an occasion to reaffirm the friendship I have enjoyed with Barbados since I first visited the island. I've seen the power of the indomitable Bajan spirit,
recognize that among us there are persons to whom my government has the distinct honor of recommending to the President, who has kindly and graciously accepted, that Ambassador Robin Rihanna Fenty tomorrow morning shall have conferred upon her the Order of National Hero of Barbados. Ask you to please come and stand.
Yay! Congratulations to Barbados. Now again, guys, Uakata, I saw you in the chat. Uakata said this is neocolonialism 101, and that could very well be true. I have no idea what this form of government is going to look like. I think they're calling themselves like a parliamentary republic. Cool. All right, cool. But again, I'm sure Prince Charles is down there like, God damn, I didn't even get to rule Barbados. This is some bullshit. My mama had the audacity to still be alive. I didn't even get to rule Barbados. And now I never rule Barbados. This is some bullshit. Because Prince Charles and who's the other one? Prince Harry. They was loving Barbados, right? Actually, Prince Harry, y'all know Prince Harry had his eye on Rihanna before he even met Meghan Markle, right? Y'all remember that? It was, don't get me lying about the specificity of what was the occasion that brought Prince Harry, single man Prince Harry, to Barbados while Rihanna was there. But he was googly eyes at Rihanna. He could not stop staring at Rihanna. I said, nigga, Rihanna ain't checking for you. Anyway, but speaking of Rihanna, you just heard Dame Sandra Mason, who is now the president of Barbados. She just said that Robin Rihanna Fenty would be accorded a special honor. They are giving Rihanna the HNIC award, the Head Negro in Charge award of Barbados. And Rihanna, in typical Rihanna fashion, showed up the next day. Well, she was there last night. Oh my God, did you see that one shoulder orange thing? That child could wear some clothes, can she? Rihanna got her accommodation the very next day, which I think was actually today. It was this morning. So I want us to check out Rihanna getting this very special award. She is the most, I guess, famous Barbadian, Bajan of current note. So let's check out Rihanna's acceptance speech. And I'm going to call it the HNIC award because I don't really know what the proper term for it was called. But let's check out our homie Rihanna real quick.
Good morning. I'm not sure if it's good afternoon yet, but good morning, Barbados. This is a day that I would never, ever forget. It's also a day that I never saw coming. Barbadians are proud people, you know? We are probably the proudest people I know. And no matter where I go in the world, I take that pride with me. No matter where we go, the world is gonna know that we Bajan to the bone. No matter if it's the accent, the constant missing shafet, the sunshine, the people, man, the people. Y'all are the true heroes of Barbados. And I take y'all with me wherever I go. I'm so proud to be a Bajan. I'm gonna be a Bajan till the day I die. This is still the only place I've ever called home. I love Barbados, I love you guys, and I pray that the youth continue to push Barbados forward. I'm so proud of you. Prime Minister Mia Mottley, thank you so much for honoring me in this way. I have traveled the world and received several awards and recognitions, but nothing compares to being recognized in the soil that you grew in. So I thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Come through, Steel Drum Band. Yes. Congratulations to Rihanna for receiving that award. There's nothing like being recognized in the soil in which you grew up in. And that's a really big deal for Rihanna. And I can imagine that was a big deal for her. And again, this is really a big deal for the people of Barbados. I mean, this is historic. And I know that there are a number of former British colonies obviously gained their independence. I'm thinking of Jamaica, obviously I guess the U.S., but I don't want to talk about the U.S. But I can respect that the Bajan people. Thank you, Rihanna, because every time I have seen Bajan, I have I don't know how to pronounce that. But Bajan people, thank you, Riri. This is a big deal for them, and I want us to, in case you're not familiar with Dame Sandra Mason, get familiar, because sis is sharp as an arrow. She really is. She gave a really compelling speech at the most recent United Nations General Assembly, where she talked about a number of issues, including climate change. But I want us to take a look at this clip from an interview that she gave to the BBC that had been making the rounds. Now, this interview is recent in the sense that it's probably less than a year old or maybe less than 18 months old. But the interviewer, well, she was asking sis some silly questions. And when you ask silly questions of very sharp people, chances are they're going to give you a very sharp, non-silly answer. And that is exactly what happened here. So I want us to take a look at Dame Sandra Mason before she was president of Barbados. This is what she had to say in response when she was asked by this interviewer about the role of China, about the role of the Chinese influence in her nation, which, by the way, if you've been to the Caribbean, stop playing silly. You already know that the Asians is all through and all deep in there. I never forget when I went to Jamaica and I seen the Chinese Jamaican man speaking perfect patois. And as an American, it's like, oh, that's not something you see here every day, but it's a thing. It is definitely a thing. Mad Asians in Trinidad, mad Asians everywhere. So don't act like the Asians is new to the Caribbean. They are not new to the Caribbean. So anyway, Dame Sandra Mason is about to make this BBC sis sound a little silly when she asks the questions about Chinese influence in Barbados. Let's take a look at that.
I honestly would like to know why we in Barbados are so ingratiated with China. Why are we in so deep with China? So are you swapping one superpower for another?
Well, once again, I regret that the person who asked the question doesn't know our history. In 1977, Barbados established relations with the People's Republic of China. And therefore, to suggest that we are now seeking to ingratiate ourselves with China means that you don't understand where we've come from or what we're doing. Any country that lives in this world today, to exist in this world, ought to have relations with every country. And China is clearly a global power. And for us not to have a relationship with China, even if we didn't have one 47 years ago, would be foolish.
But you've been very complimentary about China. You had a phone conversation with President Xi Jinping recently. You said this is all about strengthening the relationship with China. In 2019, the government signed up to the BRI, the big infrastructure projects and so on. And some people are suspicious. They think that China wants to buy the family silver.
But let's put it this way. I've also been very complimentary of the Americans and the British and the Canadians. So that for me not to be complimentary of China seems unusual. And similarly, for persons who believe that because we want to be friendly with China means that we are a pawn, tells us what they think about us in the first place. Because we are capable of being, as our first Prime Minister said, friends of all and satellites of none.
But it's not just Barbados that's moving closer to China, it's the whole of the Caribbean. I mean,
it's the whole
investment
world
from China has gone up many folds.
But so is the whole world. If I look correctly, I think the Chinese hold a large percentage of assets within the United States of America and a large amount of their treasuries as well. So for you to focus on the Caribbean or Africa with China without recognizing the role that China is playing in Europe or in the North Atlantic countries is a bit disingenuous and really reflects more that we are seen as pawns, regrettably, rather than countries with equal capacity to determine our destiny and to be part and parcel of that global conversation to fight the global issues of the day like climate and the pandemic.
All right, well, that's put me in my place, hasn't
No,
it?
not at all.
Well, she did put you in your place, though, girl. Don't be coming to Dame Sandra with some half-informed nonsense. Dave G in the chat said, I hate the xenophobic shit that comes from the BBC, and not just the BBC. Obviously, all Western media have their crosshairs set directly on China to smear China, to malign China. It's all China's fault. Everything China's fault. Nigga, please. We're from the West. We know good and goddamn well who everybody's fault is, and it came from Europe and extended out to North America. And shout out to Dame Sandra, by the way, Barbados' first president, a black woman. And we know, y'all, we have had lots of representation conversations here. We know that just because she is a black person does not necessarily mean that she has the best interests of black people. However, she talked like she got some sense. Let me just put it that way. Let me say like my mama would say it. She talked like she got plenty of sense. So I'm hoping the best for the Bajan people out there for finally making sure that Queen Elizabeth is no longer the head of state for the first time. The crown is not in control of Barbados for the first time in over 400 years. This is a big deal. So congratulations to the people of Barbados. I hope it goes well. I hope it goes well enough that maybe one of your Bajan residents would be able to come talk to me about some citizenship. I'm still in the market to exchange marriage for some citizenship. Now, maybe I shouldn't be announcing this on YouTube, but it is the truth. I want out of here, and I can't go to Canada, can't go to the UK. Barbados sounds perfect. So anyway, congratulations to the Bajan people. So yes. Real quick, everybody. Just wanted to remind. Oh, Big Teal, and I saw your comment too that your grandmother is Chinese Jamaican. Yes, yes. And Pranay, I think Pranay said it in the chat also that Asians and Indians were used to help settle new colonies. So you're going to find Asians and Indians wherever Black people are. And if you go to the Caribbean, that is absolutely the case. Plenty of Asians and plenty of Indians in those Caribbean islands, along with the Black folks. So yes, we all mixed in here together. Guys, before we move on to our next segment, just a quick reminder, please follow us places around the internet. We are at BIDWKB at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Hello, Twitchers. Is anyone watching us on Twitch today, Tunde? Can you tell? Tunde said, shout out to Northern Witch. That would be Northern Witch, the one viewer over on Twitch. That is Northern Witch. Oh, no, it's Northern Witch and her crew. Gotcha. So thank you, Northern Witch. We appreciate you modding for us over there on Twitch, honey. Follow us places, y'all. And again, if you want to support us, I guess because it is Giving Tuesday, if you felt like it, AR Walker already has led the charge. We are on Cash App at $BIDWKB, Venmo at BIDWKB. They're still doing those 15% off the annual memberships over at Patreon, patreon.com/BIDWKB. $20.40 if you support us at the $2 tier, and $51 if you support us at the $5 tier. So BIDWKB, what the fuck? Patreon.com/BIDWKB if you still want to help us and become one of our patrons, which I think we have over 100. We're like 108. Sounds right. So yeah, that's a great number. I'm so excited about that. I wanted to move along, y'all, because I have shared with you all before that I hate watch NBC News, not MSNBC News, mind you, because I don't have the stomach for that. But I do hate watch NBC Nightly News and my local NBC news affiliate, NBC Washington. I watch these channels specifically to complain about the way that they cover the news. And they give me something to complain about pretty much daily, definitely weekly, but pretty much daily. And this clip that I want to show you came from Lester Holt's broadcast last night. This was Monday night's broadcast. And I saw this and I said, really? Is this what we're doing, Lester Holt? But let me not even blame Lester Holt fully, because this is Miguel Almaguer. Miguel Almaguer is the reporter for this particular story. And it has to do with the shoplifting. The criminal elements that go to retail stores and rob them of their rightly stolen merchandise that they absolutely underpaid for and paid foreign labor way too little in order to produce. This story was on NBC Nightly News last night, November 29th, and I want you guys to see if you can figure out why it made me frown. Tunde, can we please take a look at B1?
The chaotic and increasingly dangerous crime sprees are now unfolding in more cities: San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Minneapolis. On some of the busiest shopping days of the year, flash mobs with upwards of 80 people armed with hammers and crowbars are smashing and grabbing their way through high-end retailers as terrified shoppers and employees are threatened with their lives.
We built this thing with our hands. This is our baby, and so just to see it violated is it's crazy.
While well-known luxury retailers are often targeted, including those here on Rodeo Drive, it's often small businesses paying the biggest price.
After this scene in San Francisco's Union Square, a mom-and-pop jeweler was robbed of $250,000 in goods in 3 minutes. Another retailer nearby is now spending $30,000 a month on 24/7 security. The cost of doing business could put many out of business.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. Let's start at the end, where he talks about the cost of small businesses that these theft rings have on small businesses' bottom lines. And then he used the example of a jewelry store in San Francisco that got robbed for $250,000. Now, guys, I am not in the jewelry business, but I would imagine that if you are trafficking, well, let y'all fucking traffic, well, let's just go with it. Trafficking, if you are trafficking in jewels, right? Precious stones, semi-precious stones, and you have an inventory, I would assume north of $250,000. There's no way in the world that all that shit in your store is not covered by what? Insurance, correct. Yes. So miss me with feeling sympathy. And again, I'm not saying these people should have been stolen from or these people deserve to have a shit took. I'm saying that in the scheme of operating a business in the United States of America, insurance is a very big part of this. And insurance is part of what you pay to compensate for theft, for internal theft or external theft. I remember when I worked retail, they call it shrink. They call it shrinkage, right? How much retail you lost that was not exported because of sales, right? So I'm like, okay, Miguel Almaguer, miss me with feeling bad for the multi-million-dollar jewelry store, which obviously has to operate a multi-million-dollar type of inventory, right? Miss me with that, that they got 250,000 stole from them. Lorraine Hart, thank you so much. Thank you so much, honey, for your support and for your contribution. We appreciate your super chat. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I saw Marcus. We got some more? Oh, Mark S. Thank you. Is that Mark Steiner? Mark Steiner, is that you? If that is you, Mark Steiner, you need to run us more than $5. But thank you, Mark S. If that is not Mark Steiner, Mark S. Thank you so much for your contribution. We appreciate it. Mark S. said Lester Holt has an 80-inch. Shut the fuck up. 8K forehead. Be that as it may, Mark S. And by the way, Lester's hairline is running away from his face. Have y'all seen Lester Holt lately? All right, I'm gonna stop messing with Lester Holt. I'm gonna leave Lester Holt alone. But this is not the first time that I've seen this kind of story, even this holiday season. I saw the story again. I think it was out of California, where dozens of people ran up into Nordstrom's and stole everything out of Nordstrom's. I said, what parking lot they going to be at later in the afternoon? Because I would love to come see what it is that they picked up and whether or not I too can partake in some of that boosted merchandise. Howsoever, when I saw, if you could put up B2 for me, Tunde. So I saw that story last night, and it coincided with an article that came out talking about pretty much exactly this. So it's a tale of two thefts, and it's on popular.info, and I believe is Judd Legume. Thank you, Judd Legume. Judd the Cashew. I'm gonna call him Judd the Cashew because that's what legumes are. So Judd has a story up and really put together a very interesting Twitter thread laced with some numbers that I'd actually like to share with y'all, okay? So it goes on to talk about America's a country where if a man steals thousands of dollars in merchandise from a store, it's front page news. But if a corporation steals millions of dollars in wages from its employees, it's basically ignored. So So in June, I'm reading from Judd's tweet thread. In June, a reporter tweeted a cell phone video of a man in Walgreens filling a garbage bag with stolen items. According to San Francisco's crime database, the value of the merchandise stolen in the incident was somewhere between $200 and $950, okay? The single incident generated 309 media stories between June 14th and July 12th. It continues to garner coverage today, including in the New York Times, USA Today, and on CNN. The incident is frequently presented as, quote, proof that there are no consequences for shoplifting. But the man in the video, whose name is Jean Lugo Romero, was arrested about a week later after the video was published. Lugo Romero faces 15 charges and is currently incarcerated without bail. So I want us to pick up and actually look at this specific story. Today, I think that's going to be B3. So let me jog y'all's memories in case you may not recall this. Over the summer, this man was filmed filling his bag up at Walgreens, and respectability folks lost their fucking minds. They were just simply appalled that this man could walk into Walgreens. They act as though the nigga walked up into fucking Tiffany's or some shit. Like, I mean, for God's sakes, Walgreens, niggas, Walgreens. The nigga walked into Walgreens, filled his bag up, and people's heads exploded. So let's go back actually to that story. This was July of this year, and I believe it's KPIX News Channel 5 in the Bay is the one who is covering this. Let's take a look at that today.
Go, man, you need to leave the store. Yo.
Tonight, we are hearing from the woman who took this cell phone video of a man who appears to be openly shoplifting from a San Francisco Walgreens.
Now, she says that it happened just before 10 in the morning, July 1st, at the store on Divisadero and O'Farrell Streets.
KPIX 5's Kitty Nielsen spoke with the witness exclusively tonight.
This is the Walgreens store where the woman says she shot the video. She doesn't want us to use her name or show her face on camera because she says she lives in the neighborhood and is afraid for her safety.
You need to go, man. You need to leave the store.
In this cell phone video, you can hear a security guard telling this man he needs to leave as the man continues to shove handfuls of what appears to be makeup into a backpack.
Yo, you gotta go, bro, gotta go.
The woman keeps recording as the man walks to another aisle.
I'm following you. Look at me.
But he keeps his head down and grabs more items off the shelves.
The guy had a black bag, big, heavy-duty black bag. And he was just putting stuff in there.
The woman who shot the video says she recorded it because she's seen people shoplifting from the store before. She's worried the store might close if it keeps happening.
It's about our neighborhood, so that's the reason I took the risk. You know, we need to speak out.
Walgreens has already closed some stores in San Francisco, citing theft problems, and last week confirmed it's closing another location in Oakland due to ongoing organized retail crime. According to the California Retailers Association, San Francisco is one of the top 10 cities in the country for organized retail crime. The woman who shot this video said more needs to be done to stop crimes like this, organized or not.
I feel there's no consequence, and they have any remorse, and they don't think about the people. They don't care about us, about the neighborhood, the people who go shopping, because that's our store.
We reached out to both the San Francisco Police Department and Walgreens for comment on the incident, but neither responded to our requests. In San Francisco, Katie Nielsen, KPIX 5.
And just last week, Governor Newsom signed a law aimed at curbing organized retail theft.
First of all, one dude walking into Walgreens does not constitute organized retail theft, okay? Second of all, I'm very perturbed with the witness who didn't want to identify herself, and I can understand why she didn't want to identify herself, because lady, you are the snitch. You are the feds. Who are you working for? Walgreens security? Are you part of Walgreens shrink reduction staff? Like, I get appalled at people. Now, if you're witnessing a crime against a person, if you're witnessing an assault or rape or robbery, I get it. But if we in a store of a corporation, a corporately owned store, by the way, Walgreens makes shit ton of money, I'd be goddamn if I walk around the store and follow you with the camera and be like, oops, see, I see you, look at you stealing, look at you. Stop playing. And by the way, you guys, that story aired in July. Walgreens has announced that they intend to close 5 stores in and around San Francisco and Oakland because of this problem. Now, what the stories usually don't tell you, and I'm going to go back to Judd Legume's very informative thread here. As I read to y'all, I like to read out loud. That was one of my good skills in school. I was great at reading aloud. Kimberly, would you like to read aloud? Yes, I would. What page, teacher? Let us begin. So Judd goes on in his thread. Now, this incident that we just saw, July of this year. Just a few months earlier, in November of 2020, Walgreens paid a $4.5 million settlement to resolve a class action lawsuit alleging that it stole wages from thousands of its employees in California. Something tells me that we might have talked about this. This sounds very familiar. I feel like this is something that we may have covered. How much coverage did Walgreens' massive wage theft generate? Well, there was a single 221 word story in Bloomberg Law, which is an industry publication, and that was it. Now I got to go back in our videos and see if we did cover it, because I'm pretty sure we mentioned this. So while the gentleman who was allegedly in that video, Mr. Lugo Romero, please, my Latinx people, don't get mad at me because I got no accent. While Mr. Lugo Romero is behind bars, by the way, he is still in jail being held without bond. Let me say that again. He is in jail being held without bond. He walked around the store and put shit in his bag. No bond. While Lugo Romero is behind bars, no one at Walgreens has had to take personal responsibility for stealing millions from its employees. Stefano Pessina, who was Walgreens CEO during most of the alleged wage theft, saw his compensation rise from $7.1 million to $17.5 million. Okay. Now, failure to pay minimum wage is just a type of wage theft. It's just one type of wage theft. A 2017 study of 10 states estimated that wage theft just for failure to pay minimum wage was $15 billion annually. Let me say that one more time. Failure to pay minimum wage, failure to pay workers, I'm assuming the federal minimum wage or maybe even the state minimum wage. And they just looked at 10 states in the study that Judd is referring to. $15 billion a year. Not over the course of 5 years, not over the course of 10 years. That's $15 billion every single year that these corporations directly steal from the pockets of hourly wage employees, from the workers, right? And not to mention that the CEO of Walgreens' compensation grew by $10 million during the period in which Walgreens was alleged to have been committing this wage theft. So $15 billion, guys, it's more than the value of stolen goods in all property crimes. $15 billion in corporate wage theft from average working people is more, way more than the sum total of all property crimes, So who is the real fucking thief here? Who is the real crook here? Who is harming the most people? I assure you, it is not the organized folks who, by the way, appear to be very organized when they run up in Nordstrom's and ransack Nordstrom's. If you think that, I think the number I saw quoted from that particular robbery was like 120,000. Like it was a six-figure number. Okay, them motherfuckers will have to run up in Nordstrom's every single day for like 25 years to even make a dent in $15 billion. You understand? So, and to the people who are very astutely putting this out in the chat, obviously, mainstream media, corporate media, works as an arm for corporations at large, right? And they also operate as agents of the police state as well. Because, as you heard, first of all, for the fact that this man who stole those, I'm going to say allegedly, even though he was on tape. And listen, I don't even give a fuck he was in there stealing out of Walmart. Because I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. I worked retail a lot in my late teens and early 20s. What did I say? I said Walmart. I meant to say retail. I worked retail a lot in my late teens and early 20s. And I assure you, I stole from every single fucking place I worked at. Every single one. Macy's, name them. Wilson's Leather, name it. And the only reason I'm dropping these names, because the statute of limitations is way run out. So I don't even give a fuck. Let me just, I'm going to tell you something real quick. I used to hook my people up when I worked at Macy's. So I worked in the men's shoe department, right? Big mistake. Why they put me in there? All my guy friends will come in and walk out, feet fresh to death, because y'all know what we did. Hey, he'd come in, sit down. Hello, sir. How are you? my friend, right? Oh, okay. What you want to see? The Johnston and Murphys in size 12 and a half? Sure, I'll get those for you. Or you want to get the new Butter Tims? Yeah, well, I think we got those in your size. And what would they do? They wear the old shoes in and leave the old shoes in the shoebox and walk out with the fresh Jones. Yes. And I assure you, Macy's didn't miss that shit at all. You know why? Because Macy's makes a shit ton of money and they didn't miss that shit at all. Lorraine Hart, thank you so much, honey. That's right. Learning from the corporations. That's exactly what's going on. And who else broke us off? Toby Swoley, thank you so. Oh, Toby, that's so kind of you. This is Way We Love BIDWKB for bringing light to all of the corporation gangs. Thank you so much for that, Toby. And thank you, Lorraine. You guys are the shit. But can you imagine? I mean, you guys see it. You see the hype around these holiday theft rings. And oh my God, they must be stopped. Oh my God, there's no consequences for it. Oh my God, these people walk out of here with their bags full and nothing happens to them. Well, the nigga who ran Walmart got a $10 million annual compensation bonus from stealing the wages of their workers. And nobody said shit about that, right? Except for the workers themselves, who had the temerity to file a class action lawsuit to make sure that they at least got. And we know that, by the way, that $4.5 million that Walmart was ordered to pay as a settlement, pennies on the dollar. You know what? I keep saying Walmart. Well, because Walmart needs to throw it under this bus too. We throw Walmart in there too, even though I'm specifically talking about Walgreens. Too many goddamn walls out here. Build that wall. But anyway, Walgreens know that they stole way more than $4.5 million in wages from their workers. And the fact that they only had to pay that back as a settlement was a pittance. Pennies on the dollars. So I wanted to make sure that please, like, don't, and a lot of this has to do with respectability aspects of this as well. Because first of all, guys, we know that when you steal, my stealing story is notwithstanding. Like the people that are walking into Walgreens or even Nordstrom's and stealing, not stealing that shit to wear, right? They're either stealing it. I'm talking about Walgreens right now. If you're stealing toiletries and stuff, because I saw another story around the same time from San Francisco where a person being interviewed says, yeah, I see people stealing all the time. And the reporter asked the person, well, what are they stealing? She said, oh, well, they're stealing like hand sanitizer, and they're stealing like baby wipes, and they're stealing toothpaste, and they're stealing toiletries, right? They're stealing paper towels, they're stealing toilet paper. Like, this is the kind of shit that people are stealing. They're stealing shit that they need to actually live. And by the way, the fact that the optics that all of these organized alleged thefts are taking place in the Bay Area should not be lost on any of us, because we know that Bay Area, the cost of living out there is exorbitant. I mean, my God, I think they're charging something like $3,000 for like a studio, like something crazy. So I can fully understand why people are out there stealing. Stealing necessities, I get. Also, stealing shit that can be resold for actual cash money in order to fund your survival. I get that also, right? So all this stealing has to do with necessity. And again, these are survival behaviors. These are survival crimes of survival. And again, we have to also reassess what we're calling crime and why are people who watch mainstream media so much more offended by the crime of shoplifting than they are the crime of wage theft, which takes billions of dollars out of people's pockets every single year. And guess what? That young man, well, I don't know how young he was, but the man who was filmed allegedly stealing out of Walgreens, still in jail, no bail, and facing 15 charges. Now, don't you think that he's probably going to do some significant time, right, behind that theft at Walgreens? And who does that serve, actually? Like, are we better as a society because this man who was committing a very non-violent offense is going to have to be incarcerated? He's going to have to lose his freedom because I don't give a fuck what he was in there stealing makeup. Again, I see people hustling makeup, perfume all the time. All that shit is cash transactions. Like, that shit can be easily converted to cash. So I understand why he was stealing the things that he was stealing. But for the offense to be more so at him as an individual, more so than at the system at large, or even Walgreens as a corporation, is horribly misplaced. And please don't let nobody look down on people who go into the mall or go into stores and start stealing. Okay, because again, stealing is a non-violent thing, and they say yes, so some people sometimes get injured. Well, you know why they get injured? Because they try to get in the way. They try to get in the way and try to protect merchandise that don't belong to them. Okay, don't be that silly person. If you happen to work retail or security or anything like that, listen, you see a bunch of people coming in there and stealing, don't lay your life out on the line as if they came in your house and stole your shit. No, because all of that stuff in the mall, all that stuff in Walgreens is all covered by insurance. And for Walgreens to announce the closure of 5 of their Bay Area stores is really an act of cowardice, because the one thing that the snitch said in that one video that I will agree with is that people in the neighborhood do come to rely on this. But Walgreens is simply being greedy. They can absolutely afford to keep those stores open. Perhaps if they give their CEOs and their executive a little less compensation. I mean, shit. Walgreens could really go the extra mile and give a lot of this shit away. You understand? Like, they don't have to be selling the necessities, especially in high rent districts like San Francisco, places where there are high concentration of houseless people and people who are housing insecure. You know, Walgreens should do the community a solid and start handing out toiletries for free. Keep the stores open because they can totally afford to do it. The company is making profits hand over fist. This has been an extremely profitable year for Walgreens and really most retail during the pandemic, right? But specifically places like Walgreens, Walmart, etc., Target, done very, very well. If they are so offended that their stores keep getting robbed, then maybe they need to reassess the problem. Maybe they need to look at this from a different perspective. Maybe either the items are priced too high, or you need to reevaluate the needs of the community in which you are trying to serve. And by closing those stores, they don't address any of that. Yes, sir?
Yeah. Good luck with getting them to do that. But first of all,
that's what they should do.
First of all, shout out to PAR, Tay and Steve. We appreciate your your super chat there. We see y'all.
Hey, yes, Steven and Taya. By the way, guys, Steven and Taya have a Patreon for Police Accountability Report. If you're not familiar with Police Accountability Report, you have to get familiar, because they are #1 over there breaking records over at The Real News. Ain't nobody getting no views except Steven and Taya. So you gotta go over there and support, not to The Real News, go to directly Police Accountability Report and support Steven and Taya and the amazing, amazing work that they do, on top of like getting into the gritty investigative portions of police misconduct and police breaking the law. Steven and Taya are amazing people. I love them.
Sure.
I wish Steven and Taya would adopt me. Shh, mommy, don't listen to that. Close your eyes, mommy. Close your ears. I wish Steven and Taya would adopt me because I love them so much. They are amazing people. I can't say enough good things about Steven and Taya.
Yeah, I'm sure the paperwork for that is in process. What I was going to try to just say real quick is that, you know, to talk about why people who watch mainstream media care about this so much more than they do all the wage theft is because this is so visceral, right? Like there's a camera. Like, I think about, you know, how everything's sort of been heightened, you know, over the last 10 years or so. It's because now we have video, right? So you can actually see that happening. I think the equivalent would be to hear all the inside conversations that these corporations have about, oh yeah, you know, what are we going to do for wages this year? Nothing. We're going to keep them low as we possibly fucking can. If we get that inside information and have those videos of these conversations, I don't know if it'll be as much as you know, as we're looking at here, but that'll definitely, you know, pick up the coverage more than, you know, than we're seeing now. It's because it's just so, it's right there, you can see it on camera, you know.
But I don't think that the crime itself has to be sensationalized in the sense of having video. Like, I think people understand that if Walgreens or any corporation is just simply refusing to pay people the wages that they have earned or the wages that they deserve. I mean, I know I know it's not as sexy as the video, but it should be as infuriating, if not more infuriating. Because again, I get confused at people who get upset about shit that gets took that ain't theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like, like this ain't your shit. Like, why are you upset?
Yeah, well, like in a world that made sense, yes, like you're absolutely correct, but we live in a world where we don't really react to things unless we see it, unless we have some sort of inline to it, especially nowadays where it seems like we're so desensitized to a lot of things, right? That we hear about, like there was a school shooting today, right? It's just like I'm sure that'll get talked about for about 2 days, and then we're on to the next thing, you know. And so, you know, unfortunately, just in how not just the news cycle, but I feel like just as humans, how we seem to operate these days, especially here in America, we tend to operate where unless we're confronted with something, unless we have it right there in front of us, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind, you know, and that's the unfortunate, you know, reality that we live in. But that is the reality, that we tend not to react to things unless we can actually like interact with it in some way, you know.
I guess, and to me that's millennial and younger speak, because I remember days prior to video. And, you know, because I feel like nowadays, I mean, you're not wrong about that, Tunde. It's almost like if it ain't no video, then the shit didn't happen. You know what I mean? And that is not the mentality that we need to have. And I think it's important that this is an instance where I feel so whataboutism is perfectly justified. Like, we should totally be whataboutism the fuck out of NBC News. Like, well, what about the wage theft that Walgreens committed? Like, why is this the aspect of shoplifting? Why is this the framing of which you are choosing to do this? And again, we understand what it is, because corporate media is going to present these stories from a corporate perspective and from a position that is obviously more corporate friendly, and to discourage people from doing these kinds of things, which at the end of the day doesn't really affect their bottom line that much, because of a number of reasons. Because the shit is overpriced to begin with. They're already stealing wages from their workers, so their overhead is not all that, and that shit is insured, right? They already have precautions in place accounting for when this happens. So there's that. But I wanted to tie in to how the failure of the mainstream media to report about what the real theft that's going on, the billions of dollars that's being stolen from workers, as opposed to the pennies, relatively speaking, that active thieves, by the way, take some skill to do that shit. Let's put one time for the thieves. Let's put some respect on the thieves' name, because the thieves came in there quite organized, was in and out, took hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm talking about the Nordstrom's incident, where they took all the money out, took all the shit out of Nordstrom's, and was in and out and was gone. Respect. I respect that. But the same broadcast, guys, of NBC Nightly News, in which that dreadful Miguel Almaguer piece aired, the last story of that broadcast focused on Amazon. And did it focus on the fact that Amazon used a lot of dirty tricks and union busting tactics in order to affect the way the union ratification election went in Bessemer, Alabama earlier this year? No, that's not what NBC News reported. NBC News reported, how is Walmart keeping up with the holiday rush? And gave Walmart a very glowing, favorable puff piece about how Walmart is, I mean, I keep saying Walmart because I guess I'm getting all these fucking companies confused. Amazon. The way that Amazon is paying their employees, it was very favorable. It was like a manager at an Amazon warehouse, and he was like, oh, our wages are up, our benefits are up. I'm like, how come y'all never talk to the workers? How come y'all never talk to the workers that are trying to unionize and who are saying basically the exact opposite of what Amazon management is saying? That perspective is never seldom considered. Maybe I won't say never, but it is seldom considered. It is rarely presented on mainstream outlets, and we have to remember that. But speaking of Amazon, guys, because Amazon, the workers in Bessemer got a favorable ruling from the National Labor Relations Board, giving them an opportunity to hold another election, giving them an opportunity to try this, to give it one more go for creating a union at the Bessemer facility in Alabama. And I think it was the RWDSU, the Retail Workers Downside Niggas. I don't know what RWDSU stands for, but that's the union, the Retail Workers Union. And they made this announcement today, actually. But before we get into what they said, I want us to take a look actually at a video that was made by the Amazon workers down in Alabama, because they were the recipient of the Freedom from Fear Awards presented by the UNI Global Union. And they got this award, obviously, for their fearless and courageous organizing efforts against literally the biggest company in the world, against literally the richest man in the world. And I want us to take a look at their acceptance speech for this very special recognition that they received for their organizing. Let's take a look at that, Tunde.
Hello, I'm Isaiah Thomas, and I'm a worker here at the Amazon facility in Bessemer, Alabama. First, I want to thank UNI Global Union for recognizing the RWDSU, myself, and all the Bessemer, Alabama Amazon workers who have stood together in this fight. This recognition symbolizes our collective bravery in the critical fight to unionize the very first Amazon warehouse in the United States. But this award isn't just for us. It represents workers everywhere. When we set out to organize our union at Amazon, we never thought we'd be igniting a movement. But after working at Amazon for just a few weeks, we knew we had to come together to fight for change. I can tell you firsthand, working for the wealthiest man on the planet isn't what I thought it would be. It isn't what any of us thought it would be. Too many workers go home with injuries. Too many workers leave in wheelchairs and ambulances, and too many have to take a second job just to make ends meet. I mean, that's ridiculous. The quotas increase every day, and the mile markers move further and further down the field. It's not sustainable. All of us have to come together to build our union at Amazon, and it has inspired so many. But this fight is about so much more. It's about dignity and respect. That's what brought all of us here together, and is what is bringing workers across the world together. We are incredibly humbled that our organizing drive has ignited a flame of new organizing and union solidarity. But organizing Amazon is a marathon, not a sprint, and our fight is just beginning. Workers everywhere are standing up to their bosses and saying enough is enough. You cannot mistreat us anymore. We are here, we are proud, and together we are not afraid to take a stand. Thank you. It is truly an honor to be recognized for our work today, and to stand with so many in the global labor movement who have and continue to support us in this fight.
Congratulations to the Amazon workers there for that very important recognition that they received on an international level. The Freedom from Fear Award has to go to them, because I mean, it is absolutely a David versus Goliath fight when it comes to workers versus Amazon, right? It's a small person versus a juggernaut. Real quick, Latif, thank you so much for your super chat, hon. We appreciate you. Latif says, thanks for the encouragement, Kim, and my Fire fam making moves. Yes. Are you making moves out there, Latif? What's going on? Tell LJ I said hi. You give LJ a pat on the head for me. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you, Courtney, the SOP. Wait. Alicia gave a Cash App. Courtney, the SOP, gave Cash App. Thank you guys so much. Anna Hart, you said Anna dropped us some bucks too? And you guys are the bestesses in the westesses. Anna Hart says, special thanks to Molly and Tunde and Jean-Pierre. Oh, of course. And who else gave us something? Frederick dropped us something in PayPal. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for your support. It really means a lot. It truly does. It truly does. But speaking of support, circle back to how we got to support these Amazon folks. Okay, so the National Labor Relations Board. Hold on, let me go to my doc here. And okay, pop up C2 if you could for me, brother. So this was just reported yesterday. The National Labor Relations Board regional director absolutely shreds Amazon over its conduct in the Bessemer Union election, saying that the company, quote, hijacked the process with its on-site mailbox, quote, flagrant disregard, dangerous, scathing paragraph below for decision here. Is in Huffington Post is where you can find the full announcement from the regional director from the National Labor Relations Board that they are indeed going to grant the Bessemer location another chance for election. But basically, one of the reasons that they gave as to why is because, again, the company was engaging in all kinds of nefarious union busting activities, all of the signage posted all around the warehouse, discouraging union and even talking about unions, the fact that employees would be texted with anti-union propaganda. It was just there was no boundaries to which Amazon was willing to go in order to make sure that this union engagement did not succeed. But I want us to be paying attention to this, y'all, because this is important. Part of the reason why the NLRB claims that the company hijacked the process is because, so when they have the elections for whether or not they're going to impose a union, right? The box in which the ballots are held, Amazon had that on site, like on its premises. And imagine that you're an hourly worker there in Bessemer, and you're getting all of this pressure already from the company, from your managers. And if they see you putting a ballot into the box, I would imagine there's got to be some concern there as a worker, like, I don't want them to see me participating in this, or I better tell them that I'm voting against it so they'll leave me alone, or they won't fire me, or they won't fuck up my hours or mess up my schedule. All kinds of reasons why Amazon should have never been allowed to have that mailbox on their premises, right? That was extremely, extremely fucked up. And it doesn't even stop there, guys, because if you could put up C3 for me, Tunde, in Staten Island, on the Amazon warehouse that's located in Staten Island, New York, there was a worker there, 25 years old. His name was Daquan Smith. Daquan was a worker at Amazon up until recently. In October, he was let go for unionizing activities, for all intents and purposes, for having conversations with his coworkers about trying to form a union at the Staten Island location. So they fired him. Amazon did back in October, as this tweet indicates. By this tweet, by the way, posted by the Amazon Labor, which is an organization of Amazon workers who are trying to indeed form a union, and you can find them on Twitter at Amazon Labor. So Amazon Labor tweeted this, saying that Daquan was targeted for outspoken support of the union. And as a result, we, the Amazon Labor Organization, have filed with the NLRB and an investigation is underway. We will not let Amazon violate our rights, and you can support Daquan. If you go to the at Amazon Labor Twitter account, they do have links there to Daquan's GoFundMe, because Daquan was already homeless while working at Amazon. It already cost Daquan $40 a day to even transport himself to the Amazon facility to go to work. And again, did I mention that the young man was already homeless? Already homeless. If you could pop up also C4 for me also. So again, the Amazon labor people are on it. They filed an unfair labor practice charges against Amazon with the National Labor Relations Board. Amazon maintains an unlawful policy blocking union organizers' access during non-work hours to public areas and buildings on its Staten Island campus. Amazon, fuck your war against your workers. This is basically the sentiment there. So we have another opportunity for this, because if only one of these locations is able to successfully unionize, that is a shot across the bow, baby. Like Amazon, all we need is one, right? And the rest of the dominoes will indeed fall. This is the same in the same case with the stores up in Buffalo, New York, when it comes to Starbucks. If we can get these one places, right? If we could just get one done, the rest of them absolutely will fall into place. And this is what Amazon is terrified of. This is what Starbucks is terrified of, and this is why they're working so hard to discourage this. If Amazon really felt as though they were paying their laborers fair wages and proper benefits, they wouldn't fight this so hard. You know what I mean? Like, if I was Amazon, I would just increase everybody's wages. Okay, everybody makes $25 an hour. All of our warehouse workers make $25 an hour plus benefits. Like, this is easy. Amazon can totally afford this. Because of the nature of capitalism, however, because Jeff Bezos has more rockets to to send up into the atmosphere with Blue Origin, this is why the Amazon folks are not getting paid properly. This is why they're getting worked literally to the bone, getting worked to the point of exhaustion, getting worked to the point of injury, and getting worked to the point of losing their dignity. Obviously, we've all heard the stories about the Amazon truck drivers who people have to pee in bottles. Like, come on now. Like, if Amazon was a company truly on the up and up, their workers would never be subjected to these types of conditions, especially not at these level of wages. And I don't care. In the year 2021, the fact that some of these companies are willing to start their workers off at $15 an hour, bitch, that ain't nothing to brag about. Because guess what? You could work 40 hours a week at $15 an hour. You could work 60 hours a week at $15 an hour. That still is not enough to pay rent in Washington, D.C., or to pay rent in Chicago, or to pay rent in New York, or to pay rent in a lot of places, right? And all my down south people, Courtney, tell them how rent's going up in North Carolina. Who with us in Georgia? Tell them how much it costs to live in Atlanta these days. That whole to live down south, shit, it was cheaper to live down south. I don't know what it is today, baby. Down south looking like right here to me. Anyway, so we don't give companies no credit for starting people off at $15 an hour, because really they need to be starting them off at $22 an hour and up in order for it to be a living wage. So oh fuck, Tuna, you ain't telling me it was $6.15. Shit, my bad. Okay. Well, do y'all want to talk about this Chris Cuomo shit real quick? I can make it quick too, because this is this is light work. This is light work. By the way, guys, we will be keeping close tabs of what's going on in Bessemer and in Staten Island as well. And I definitely want to send our condolences, by the way, to the workers at the Amazon plant at JFKB. They lost one of their workers who was struck and killed while crossing the street leaving the facility. So we want to send our best wishes and our condolences to the Amazon workers up there in Staten Island for the loss of their comrades. So there is that. But real quick, I wanted to move along to this final story that I wanted to get into, because this has everything to do with, it ties into an earlier story as to why the mainstream media is garbage. Well, the mainstream media is garbage because they keep hiring the same fucking people all over the place. And these people, if they come with some sort of pedigree, then despite their obvious lack of talent or lack of intelligence or general knowledge, these people will be elevated, right? And there's no more perfect example of that than Chris Cuomo, right? Chris Cuomo, one of Mario Cuomo, right? Mario Cuomo's sons. Mario Cuomo, former governor of New York State. So Chris Cuomo comes from a political family of some notoriety. Obviously, his father was the governor. His brother went on to become governor. And this motherfucker went on to become Fredo. Fredo Corleone. And I heard that Chris Cuomo get mad when people call him Fredo. I'm like, dog, have you seen The Godfather? Fredo suits you, bro. Like, if you look at who was Santino, who was the other Corleone brother? It was Tino, Michael, and Fredo. Yes, Fredo. Chris Cuomo, absolutely Fredo. There's no question about that. So throughout this investigation into Andrew Cuomo, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's behavior, where he acted very inappropriately with a number of his aides in the governor's mansion, allegedly groping people, just being creepy, touching. So in the 11 hours of deposition that was released by the New York State Attorney General, it was included in this information dump, which, by the way, interesting within itself, because it's like, oh, y'all really don't like Andrew Cuomo, huh? y'all really trying to make sure that you have firmly sullied Andrew Cuomo in the eyes of his constituents, so out of the New York State Attorney General's office, because it's like, why y'all just dumping this salacious shit? Okay, I'm with it though. So anyway, throughout this information dump, it was revealed that Chris Cuomo, who has a prime time show at CNN, was allegedly using his media contacts, his sources, to inquire the number of women allegedly making accusations against his brother and who these women were. I can only assume that Chris Cuomo was going on a fact-finding expedition, dare I say a dirt-digging expedition, in order to come up with information to smear the woman who was accusing his brother. And so that all notwithstanding, I care less about that and more about why does this not bother CNN? Why is CNN not bothered by one of their main anchors, one of their primetime hosts, repeatedly and very blatantly flouting any sort of regard for any journalistic ethics? And what do I mean by this? So while there is not a governing body over the conduct of journalists, right? There isn't, and maybe there should be, but there is not, right? Everybody knows that there are some basic tenets of how to proceed as an ethical reporter, okay? And one of those has to do with conflict of interest. Very much like a law enforcement person, or rather someone like a prosecutor or a judge, journalists are supposed to literally recuse themselves or remove themselves from stories if they have a demonstrated conflict of interest. And Chris Cuomo being allowed to have his brother on as a guest, his brother at the time governor of New York, for them to yuck it up and shoot shit about absolutely nothing, was a horrible conflict of interest. Okay, now it did not turn harmful. I can argue that it was harmful, because for the simple fact that Chris Cuomo was never going to give his brother a hard-hitting interview. He was never going to ask him probative policy questions. They were just going to joke back and forth about what mom's making for Thanksgiving dinner, like goofy shit like that. And shame on CNN for allowing that goofy shit to fly on its airwaves and pass as journalism. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. But that was a conflict of interest, which CNN was seemingly unconcerned about. And now one of their anchors was using their influence as a very visible and, I guess, popular news host to try to dig up dirt on women making sexual harassment accusations. I don't see a greater conflict of interest than that, right? There is no excuse why Chris Cuomo should continue to have a job. Because he's demonstrated that he is incapable of removing himself from and being objective in a situation that he clearly can never be objective. We're talking about his brother. And I don't expect Chris Cuomo to not defend his brother, to not do what he can to help his brother. But you shouldn't be sitting your ass in that news anchor chair if that's what the fuck you're going to do. Okay? Like, you cannot be counted on to credibly interview people or even report upon New York State politics, especially as it pertains to the governor's mansion, because you have demonstrated a firm bias. And even if you didn't demonstrate it, the bias should be implied. That is his brother, right? And the fact that CNN allows this goofy shit to continue to take place just goes to show you that so long as you're a white, male, and moneyed, and come from some prominence, you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? CC Donald Trump. It it doesn't amaze me what white men are allowed to get away with, but it's just like, wow, like, and y'all don't see anything wrong with this system, huh? The people in charge, of course, they don't see anything wrong with it because they're just like Chris fucking Cuomo, right? Maybe not as, not the notoriety or maybe not the family prominence, but usually rich, white, male, connected, right? And that is some shit that we as viewers, as consumers, need to faithfully call out. Like I wish I was clever enough to come up with a hashtag in order to drum Chris Cuomo the fuck up out of CNN. Not that I give a fuck about CNN, because Chris Cuomo there, Chris Cuomo ain't there. I'm not about to start watching. But please, miss me with you being a credible, reputable news organization when you continually allow blatant conflicts of interest to take place over your airwaves. And especially when it comes to issues pertaining to people who are speaking out against sexual harassment or sexual misconduct. Like, fuck you. Like, miss me all day with that nonsense. So just a reminder, Chris Cuomo, Fredo, as he's affectionately known by his friends, is gonna sit his ass up in CNN and still make a 7-figure check or high 6 figures. I don't know what Chris Cuomo making. I'm sure he's making fantastic money over there, just so he can use his contacts to run interference for his politician brother. That's it. That's the end. That is the tweet. Okay, guys, that's the show. I didn't realize I was holding y'all hostage until 6:23, and for that I greatly apologize. Somebody just broke us off with some more dough too. You guys are so kind. Police accountability report again. Was that same dub? But it's okay. We'll take it. Tunde is right. People are desensitized, but watching young folks help themselves gives corporate mainstream media exactly what they need to whip up white fear and black respectability politics, even sympathy for our corporate overlords, I mean job creators. That sounds like Taya. Yes, Taya. Yes, agreed. And I'm sure Police Accountability Report, in their extensive reporting about how fucked up police are and the way that the mainstream media runs cover for cops. I'm sure y'all guys have talked about this. If not, I'm sure you guys probably will talk about this in the future. But listen, guys, I encourage you all, please, please, please find Police Accountability Report, find their page on YouTube and subscribe to Police Accountability Report and support Police Accountability Report on Patreon as well. But guys, that is our time. I'm going to go. It's time for me to get off the phone. On behalf of Tunde and Molly, I want to thank you all so much for showing up, for hanging out with us on today's show. We will see you back here on Friday. Please join me tomorrow morning over on Black Power Media for the Remix Morning Show, as Jared Ball calls it, the Boom Bap Breakfast. We start 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go to 10 a.m. So come hang out with your people over at BPM for the Remix Morning Show tomorrow morning. And we will see you guys back here for Friday, pimpins. Love you guys. See y'all later. Bye-bye.